Number one, we're going to quickly go through the results, about 5 to 7 minutes on the results of our NPS survey. The second thing we're going to do for today, we're going to have a little fun. When a presenter says we're going to have a little fun, what goes through your mind? Is it like, are we going to do like call and response? Please don't call on me. Please don't call on me, which is never fun. Or do you really think, yeah, we're going to have a good time today? Well, my hope is we're actually going to have a good time today. Why? Because we're going to use School Psych AI, Sophia, to do some really fun things. What are those fun things? Generating SEL lessons, generating social stories, generating SEL exit tickets. And with the social stories, we're going to show you how to use our social stories generator and then use some other AI platforms to generate an image from that, which I think is so much fun. All right. Just by a quick show of hands, or you could drop some yeses in the chat. Is anyone creating social stories or SEO lesson plans? Leslie's like, yes. Leslie's excited. So here we go. Anyone doing social stories? Okay, I got a thumbs up. Well, we're going to go through it today. All right. And we're going to have a good time. All right. Take what will be helpful, leave the rest. So the first thing that I would like to quickly go through, and I'm going to drop this inside of the chat for you all. And again, you all should have it, but it's going to be our 2026 NPS survey. I just dropped that inside of the chat for you all. All right. Now, what I want to do is, I'm on the clock. We are going to quickly go through this. Just for some quick context and framing of this, NPS survey is called a Net Promoter Score. I honestly, let's see, Karina, I was looking into, what is Karina saying? Okay. All right. A Net Promoter Score is really big in the tech world and software as a service world. And it's a way to measure if someone would recommend your company, your organization to someone else. Typically, it's about 1 to 2 questions. You click it or you take the survey and yes, I recommend this. Here's the thing that's important. It can range from negative 100 all the way to 100, okay? And then 0. What that means is, as you're giving a rating, and it's rating from 1 to 10, the rating can, I mean, if you get a 0, it can be really, really bad, all right? So what that means is, if you have a score that's above 0, that's not a terrible score, okay? So I don't want you all to think a Net Promoter Score of like a 5 or 10 or 15 is a bad score. In the business world, that's a really good score. So we gave this Net Promoter survey, we let it go for about a week. And this is important, especially 55% of our team were school psychologists, and Ed is data-driven. That means we are data-driven in everything that we do. So I want to share the results of this survey that we did. All right, and here's just some quick highlights for you all. Our overall Net Promoter Score, Leslie, if you could help me with omitting these guests, please. Our overall Net Promoter Score was a 53.2, right? Without context, you're like, all right, you're average again, or a 50 is whatever. A 53 is an exceptional score, y'all. Like, really, really good. Now, a 53 in context to our first score that we took and we gave the survey in fall of 2025 was a 46.5. A score of 46.5 is still an exceptional score. Again, Megan, you could get a negative 100. There's some this is being recorded. I was about to crack some jokes about some publishers that we might give negative 100s to. But y'all, let's all say it in our minds on 3. 1, 2, 3. Yep, y'all got it. We all said the same publisher, right? Yes. Anyways, so having a 46.5 in the fall was a strong score. And then we increased to 53.2. Just some quick highlights from this. One stat that really stood out, 94% of practitioners, and this includes not just school psychologists, but SLPs, OTs, BCBAs, special education teachers, DIACs. I mean, we have the entire spectrum of related service providers utilizing our platform. Noted that they're using School Psych AI daily or weekly. That's a ton of use. What that means to us is that you all have become, our tool has become a daily part of your life. And that's a big responsibility that we have. I always say that we are here to be of service to you. And what that means is that you all are using this daily. So we have a responsibility to ensure that what we're providing is effective, that is helping you all to do your job. Okay, some other quick highlights that I want to go through is that 9 and 10, almost 100%, but that seems a little high, but at minimum 90% reported that they're saving at least an hour of time utilizing our platform. When we drill down a bit deeper into the data, what we see here is that the Net Promoter Survey based on different categories. And so there's promoters, there's detractors, and then I forget what the passives. But what this shows is the higher that each individual person, so if you had a Net Promoter Score of 83, that means you're a promoter. You rated it really, really high. Then your savings are 7 hours or more. All right. But if you gave us a negative rating, you're not saving it that much. What was also really interesting about this is the more that people have the AI literacy and are comfortable using the platform, the bigger the time savings. And what we come to really recognize and make sense out of this data is one other really interesting thing is that the people who aren't getting that much value out of the platform, they're really using the FBAs and BIPs. And so I think they're like more like behavioral driven. And then the people who are like getting 7+ hours are using a wide range of tools, conversations, report writer tools, and doing really creative things. So just some really, really neat things. I'm gonna move ahead. The full report is there, but just some other really, really neat things that I have to call out, y'all. One of the goals is not just to write faster reports. We see that we're saving time. That's cool. A goal that we have is always to expand our scope of practice and what we're doing. And one of the questions that we ask is, are you saving time? Most people say yes. Now that you're saving time, what are you doing with all that time that you have? That's dramatic. It's still not all the time because you're still busy, okay? But what are you doing with that expanded scope of practice in 30 seconds or less? Consultation and collaboration, more counseling and direct services, being in the classroom more. One of the things that was really, really neat that I love to see is the family communication. And so meeting more with parents. This was a really, really cool stat. To where 79.7, almost 80% said that they use School Psych AI to improve the accessibility of their writing. This is a powerful stat right here because it's making what we do accessible. And then you have more time to spend with parents, making sense of the findings, and importantly, moving towards action. This was a lot. Ed, anything that you want to add to this, and then I'll open it up to the floor for any questions.
Yeah, you covered quite a bit.
Okay. So I'll pause here. Any questions as you're reading through? Anything stand out to you? I'll open it up to the group. Look, we're going to treat this like class. We're not moving on to the next section until I get at least 3 questions. saying this is where y'all drop the planet questions that we have. We don't have planet questions, but any questions in the chat?
Byron, you might have done too good of a job of explaining all this.
Now, listen, y'all. Thank you, Ed. Here's the thing about it. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. People always ask, what's the data of privacy and security? Okay, here's our FERPA compliance. Well, where's the data? Where's the research? Where's the findings? And then we give it, and then it's... All right. Closing.
Byron, I think we're catching some people who are getting ready to go. Maybe they're having a late spring break. They're just coming back from spring break. So I think
spring break is over. The only people out here on spring break is Boston.
They came for the social stories.
All right. I'm gonna do
They're
a
ready
social
for
story.
summer.
I'm gonna do a social story about pouring my heart out into data. All right, let's go. One thing that I will share as we start to transition to the fun stuff. My dissertation was an investigation of CASEL Select programs with minority students from high poverty communities. And I investigated CASEL Select programs and calculated overall mean effect sizes. I had to do that by hand. Emma, I can talk all day in the paint, but there's actually some stuff going on in here. All right. Like, I know my stuff. All right. So I can give y'all the hype and all of that. And then we can also get into the data. And so one thing that I think is pretty important to note is where it took me months, and that's not high poverty. Is that the word? You know what I'm trying to say. It took me months to do that dissertation and calculating overall mean effect sizes. When I got into schools, I was calculating risk ratios from risk indices and like running complex analysis. Like now we have this technology at our fingertips that can do what used to take months into minutes. So, all right, now I'm going to bridge the data into some of the social emotional learning, social skills work, which is fun, but it's also important as we expand our scope of practice to our young people. Now, here's what we're going to do. I am going to drop in. We're going to do this one prompt at a time. I'm going to drop inside of the chat. This is going to be the first guide that we are working from, okay? And that first guide, look, if y'all catch typos or errors inside of it, I was moving fast, okay? It's all right. Just let me know and we'll get it corrected, okay? Now, I see you all are joining in. I created this guide and I broke it down by grade bands, SEL competency, and then a sample prompt that you could take. It's going to be as simple as possible. All you're going to do is think of a competency that you want. You're going to take that prompt. You're going to modify it for a student that you want. And then I'm going to walk you through using our SEL Lesson Generator. Okay. So as an example, we're going to grab this first one, this grade band K through 2. Sorry, early. Well, I always neglect my early childhood folks. So we're going to take this K through 2. This competency is on self-awareness, and I'm going to grab this prompt. I'm just going to copy it. Yes, Ed.
Byron, are you sharing your screen?
Thank you. I thought I was, but then I thought maybe I wasn't. I was just going to go. So thank you for saying something. Now that was a test. Y'all just letting me go. Y'all wasn't gonna say nothing.
We're
Thank you,
following
Ed.
along on the document you nicely shared with us.
Thank you, Edward. Thank you. All right. But okay. Can you all see my screen? Okay. And I see a handful of you all are in the document. So what I did, I organized this by grade band. I broke it down by SEL competency. And then here's the sample prompt. If you're not familiar with the competencies, these competencies are broken down by CASEL. CASEL is the Collaborative for Academic, Social, Emotional Learning, and they put forth 5 SEL competencies that they believe make a well-rounded person. And so each competency, self-awareness, social awareness, relationship skills, responsible decision-making, self-management, these are all the skills. And what I did, I have a competency for each grade thing, okay? We're gonna jump into the platform. This is School Psych AI. Ed, you have a question or is your hand still up? Cool. This is the platform inside of School Psych AI. What I want everyone to do, depending on your level of access, is to create a new thread, all right? Depending on your level of access, you should have unlimited threads. Always use new threads. There are several ways we're going to do this, but the number one way, we are going to use our SEL Lesson Generator tool, okay? What you're going to do, you're going to click Tools. From Tools, just type in SEL. And then we have our Lesson Generator here. You're going to click it, okay? Once you click it, the tool is going to open up. And then once you're in, we're going to switch. We're going to click this toggle. If you have a file or document, you can upload it. But for the sake of this, we're going to click the toggle so that we can type in or paste in. And all we're doing, we're going to paste in. And then I'm going to hit submit. And what we pasted in is simple instructions. Generate a SEL lesson for K through 2 students focused on identifying feelings in themselves and others. Then I give Sophia some things to include: a simple opening activity, guided discussion questions. We said one interactive practice activity and a short closing reflection. Ensure the lesson is accessible for diverse learners, including ELL students and students with attention difficulties. This is important. Modify this however you want. This is a sample prompt. So if you want to change the focus area, if you want to change, say, specifically first grade students, that's fine. Change it however you like. The tool that we have, this SEL Lesson Generator, we've worked on it so that it's going to provide you a nice formatted output that aligns based off of the CASEL framework. It also pulls in the SAFE framework, which is the sequence, active, framework, and explicit instruction, which is also pretty important. Now, you see it gives us that grade level, the lesson, which is identifying feelings in ourselves and others. Thanks for following instructions, Sophia. You nailed it. All right. It gives that duration, 20 to 25 minutes. Who has 20 to 25 minutes? We're going to modify this to say 6 minutes. How about a 6-minute SEL lesson? Anyone get that? No? No. That's an inside joke. I want to know if anybody catches it.
I got it. I got it.
I just shared that to Karina. I said I still use his 6-minute solutions because it's still out there.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, way back when I was in the field, I created a SEL curriculum called 6-Minute SEL, which was based on the work of my dissertation. Did this a long time ago. So I could go off on that, but I'm going to stay focused. But that work is near and dear to my heart. And this tool pulls from a lot of that work, okay? It gives us a welcoming activity. And you might recognize these welcome activities based off of that castle framework. They have their 3 signature practices. And so it's baked into this lesson generator as well. Melissa says, can you add a data tracking piece? I thought you never asked. We'll show you how to do that here. All right. And then it goes through the engaging strategies, another one of the signature practices, which is really good. And then the optimistic closure. This really nailed those 3 signature practices. And then it gives those differentiation strategies. This is really, really good. So I moved really, really fast when I created my first SEL curriculum. I adapted that when I was working with my 6th grade and 7th grade group at the middle school and my 1st grade group at the elementary school. I was using the Strong Kids curriculum. Anyone familiar with Strong Kids? Emma? Cool. That's what I was using, and I adapted that to fit my demographic. It took me, the first one was pretty quick, but it still took me weeks to create those lessons. And it was 150 of those 6-minute lessons. And then the second iteration of that update, it took me months to update it. Now, we just did this in seconds. Like, I'm telling y'all, I was the expert. If you Google Byron McClure, social emotional learning, a whole bunch of stuff is going to come up. I'm telling y'all what I know. And then to differentiate it and personalize it for students, we're talking like it takes a long time to do that. And we just did this in seconds. I'll pause here. When I pick back up, we're going to add the data tracking piece. I'll pause. Questions, comments, reflections, y'all.
Byron, I have a question.
Yes.
I want to ask the group, if you guys are in Sophia now or in the platform right now, do you feel confident that you can kind of follow the same steps? Is there anything that you want Byron to go back over before we go ahead? And you could put it in the chat too. I know some people are shy sometimes.
I have a question. What was
Yes.
the prompt that you put in to change it to the 6-minute? Because I went in and grabbed a different one and I just put in, make this a 6-minute one. And I did not get all of the great steps that you did. I just got this like paragraph.
Did you use
So
the
what was the
tool
prompt?
or did you use the tool or you use conversations?
I was in the tool, and then after it popped up all those steps like your first one showed, then I went down below and I said, make this a 6-minute. And then I just got like a paragraph versus all of your this like steps that you did. So I was wondering if it has to do with verbiage or where I was at.
No. Okay. So we'll come back to the data tracking piece. Answering this one, Amy, and Ed, correct me if I'm wrong. It's not picking up because this is a tool. Is that correct, Ed? Yes. So, Amy, this isn't the best, but when you use our tools and then you tell Sophia, hey, based on this conversation up above, do this thing, there's a disconnect. Okay. So if it was part of the conversation, Sophia would do it. So then what you can do, I just copy all of that. I paste it in. I'll say, Sophia, here is a SEL lesson. Right now it's too long, 25 minutes. Your task is to use principles. You don't have to do this. I'm being so dramatic right now. But Byron McClure and convert it to a 6-minute SEL lesson. I'm going to copy this. If Sophia does a good job, and then we're gonna let Sophia do her thing. I'm gonna paste that inside of here, of the chat. Okay. So essentially, Amy, what we did, we took the above output from Sophia, pasted it back in, and then added that in. And then let's see what Sophia did. Six-minute
So just-
SEL lesson.
So just to be clear, is that the same principle across all the tools? Is that you, in order to make changes to whatever's above, you have to copy and paste it in and give it a new prompt? You can't just say, hey, change that to this?
Correct. For now, because
Okay.
they're essentially, Ed, help me with the language here. The tools are disconnected from the chat, even though they're in the chat. So for now, just copy, paste it back in, and then prompt. Ed, yes? I think Ed is typing inside of the chat. All right. Yep. That's an update. And here's a powerful thing about these office hours. We'll take this feedback, and then Ed is probably working on it right now. Okay. We'll get that fixed. Good. But you see, when you do that, it does it beautifully. Let me see. I'm going to critique Sophia, because based on my lessons, okay, and it still has the guided questions. All right. This is actually pretty good. Now, okay, let's say, and because this is in the conversations now I can keep chatting with Sophia. Based on the 6-minute SEL lesson, your task, who was that? Melissa? Melissa, can you tell me a little bit more about the data tracking piece? Okay. Tell me a little bit more. And when I say tell me a little bit more, the more context we give Sophia, the better job she'll do. So can you talk a little bit more about what you want to see in terms of data tracking?
Yes, so when I'm doing SEL groups with special education students and we're tracking data for goals in the IEP, I'm just wondering how we can translate this into, like the progress reports. So I guess it is kind of, situation specific depending on the student that's in the group.
Correct. And I have, let me see if I can find it, because I just had it. Let me go back over here. I had a prompt for that. Is it in? I think I deleted that one. I think this is it. Nope, that's not it, Byron. Nope, that's it right there. I think that's it. Nope, that's not it. I had a prompt. If not, we're going to create a prompt here in real time. Grab that. There it is. I'm reading through this. This is kind of okay. Melissa, do you want it to be student facing or the facilitator is completing it?
The facilitator.
Okay. The SEL. Let's just say we're tracking the SEL competencies of self-awareness and I don't know, and noticing feelings. The facilitator of the SEL group will be selecting the data. We said your task is to create, Melissa, are there any specific columns that we want included?
Yes, so working with like social perspective, taking, understanding others' feelings. Like, is that what you mean? Or
For this one, because it's more looking at self-awareness, if we were doing social awareness, we could do that a little bit better. But what I was looking for, is there any specific, meaning student identified their emotions with 80% accuracy?
oh, okay.
Or anything along those lines within a specific column that we want.
Yeah, I think that would be good if we could have 2 columns for the one with the percentage, and then I'm just trying to, or something along the lines of so many opportunities to practice this skill, like 2 out of 5 or 3 out of 5 opportunities.
Good. And then this is one of my favorite prompts. Use your deep expertise to help us consider what might be missing from this data tracking sheet. Okay.
Nice.
Yeah. And I like that one because we have so much going on and so much that we're thinking about. These models, especially Sophia, can do a really good job of thinking through, especially where we might miss things. Oh my gosh. I'm so mad. Listen, I'm about to go on a rant. And here's why. Melissa, it would take me so long to create these sheets. And then I was not proficient in Word and Google Sheets. I don't even think we had Google Sheets back then. When I know I look young, but Ed reminds me I'm an old head. I've been doing this for a long time. I had to create these sheets by hand. I didn't know how to do it. Whereas I'm gonna show y'all. Some of y'all might have heard me present. We had the students with the goal group, and I gave all my students notebooks. And at one point, I was like, man, I'm just gonna create this by hand. Antoinette said, back in my day, I know. And I just turned 40, and but back in my day, listen, this is how we used to have to do it. And now y'all with y'all A1 sauce, y'all can come in here and do it like that. Some of y'all will get that reference. Oh my gosh. Ed says Byron has been a psych since I was 18. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. Here, I'm gonna come back to that. Sophia created this behavior group data tracking sheet. The session numbers, the date, the group name, students with a goal, or if you have different group names, the lesson focus, a student roster, and tracking. Oh my goodness, y'all. A session summary, and then it gives us what we might be missing. Oh, I like this goal progress one. So then I would then say, hey, go back in, add in a space for qualitative observations, and then a goal progressing, a progress goal one. And then when I get it just the way how I want, I can then click that create document button. And then it pops up. And guess what we can do? We can edit anything inside of here. This is unreal. Like, are y'all seeing? Are we seeing the same thing right now? You can edit all of this, color code, change the colors here. And then when you're ready, if you want to copy it somewhere else, you can. If you want to export PDF or Word doc, you can. This is unreal. Okay. Oops, look, don't be like me if you delete something. Just undo. All right, I wanted to delete that. And then Emma says, for the issue of need to follow up with more prompts after using the tool, like the SEL report writer multi-rated tool, without having to resubmit the tool by using the prompt, give me the previous output. Wait, what? Then putting in specific modifications. For the best 3, I usually use this follow-up my prompt. After, give me the preview, but make the narrative section. Emma, what? That works?
Yeah, so I don't like how it spits out the narrative summary for the Basque. I like it more cohesive. So that's the prompt I use for the Basque. And then for like the SEL that you did, to get it into 6-minute format, I just said, give me the previous output, but modify the lesson to be able to be done within a 6-minute duration rather than a 20 to 25-minute duration. Keep the general key concepts the same. And it gave me that.
Whoa. Well, thank you, Emma. I think Ed and I, we try, y'all. Amy, yes.
Okay, so based off of that feedback, is it one of those things that we could take, like once we get a I don't even know how to say it, like an output like you really like, instead of having to do that for every report with that prompt, could you copy and paste that output into your personalization and say, for my WISC, this is the output format I prefer, and it would do that for all of them versus having to individually prompt for each report?
Ed is typing in the chat. Ed is the resident expert on the personalization. Ed says, except for tools, that would only apply to conversations and chat. Yeah, conversations is chat, yeah. But Amy, that's a good point. Okay, and I think that's something that we can explore a bit more. But Amy, I like the way how you think. You're all for efficiency. And there's some things that we can do to get Sophia even more efficient. So keep that feedback coming. Awesome. Emma, that's amazing. We didn't even know that. That's like this one time we used to have color-coded tables way back when. I wonder if anybody remembers that. Oh, wait, Leslie. And then Leslie was just, hey, Sophia, make this color code.
For 2 years, I was doing it.
Yes. And in all seriousness, this is one of the powerful aspects of office hours. Ed and I, we test from our limited viewpoint. We try to test as wide as we can, but there's just some ways that you all use it that we haven't even considered or that we might miss. So I love the fact that we can have these office hours and we learn from you all. So thank you, Emma, for that. Then Melissa says, I had previously thought that I could use the templates to do that. Tell Sophia to use my template to write a report, but I haven't gotten that to work. That is something that inside of the editor document, if I'm understanding that correctly, and Ed is typing. Yeah, Ed, you read my mind. I was just gonna say that, Jess, and she might have, yep, Jess is here. Jess, I don't know if you see the question, but that is one thing that we're working on to do consistently all the time. And it's still a work in progress, but Jess, please.
Yeah, Ed and I work on this a lot, and Christina. I'm trying to work out the details, but we're getting there. I've had the most success right now. I have a template and I will copy and paste the template into chat. So let me, hang on just a second. I'm going to show you what I do. Sorry, I always get nervous. I'm going to share it with the wrong screen, so I have to close out all of my billion tabs before I do anything. It's not the one I want. There we go. Okay, so I will take my template that I have created, and what I will do is I will fill out the table and the test observations myself, because that's where it seems to be the glitchiest now. And then right before interpretation, I will put in there use the above information to complete the template below. And then I copy and paste this whole thing into chat and I run it. And it's consistently, like, it will fill this part of my template out perfectly every time if I do it that way. So we have things we put in here that like explain the composites, and then it has an interpretation, which will include the scores and the information that we want, and a summary, and then recommendations. So yes, you can use templates. You have to create the template, and then right now you do have to input the scores. Ed, did we get the tab thing going yet?
It's being tested. It's almost there.
Okay. So yeah, so this is, yes, if you do it this way, it will work.
Can
I
we
guess
give
I
it up for
anybody
Jess?
have questions? Yeah. Are there any questions? Like, did I explain that well enough? Does that make sense?
Could you repeat the prompt you used? You started with use the above information to complete, and then I lost you.
Yeah. So I'll just put it, let me type it in the chat. And I'll put it in here exactly like I put it into my template.
Thank you.
That's it. And I put that right after my table before interpretation. So I will put it right in here. Oh, you don't want that.
Diana says, got it.
Yep. Well, it's highlighted and funky, but anyway, yes, that's where it goes, and that's what you put. So, and I use that on, I've got templates for the ASRS, the WISC, the KTEA. What else do we do? The BASC, the Connors, the SAED, the Vineland, works on all of them if you do it this way.
Now, someone said, if we ask Jess nicely, maybe one day before the end of the school year, she could lead us in the office hours, making her time, noting she's busy, making her time worth it, Jess, to lead us through our office hours.
We can talk about that. It is April, Byron, so we can
I
chat.
love it. Let's chat. Let's chat. Look, we're saying the chat. Thank you so much. Absolutely amazing. Yes, that would be glorious. All right. And look, that means I can get out of the way and let Jess do her thing. Jess, I have my people get in touch with your people. We'll set something up. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. It is 11:54. I was going to give you all a quick prompt for social stories. Thumbs up if you want that prompt, and we do that super, super quick. Or is there any burning questions that anyone has that I'll concede, and we'll address that question? Yes, Emma.
Just a quick one. Is there a plan in the future to make like any connection with like Google Docs?
That has been a long-standing plan that keeps getting pushed back just because we have limited time and limited resources. But it is something that we would love to be able to do. So, it's noted and on our hope of things to come. Okay, super quick, because I know we said we will do social stories. I am going to share the template. Again, all of these templates are going to be linked when I get a chance inside of the resource folder. You all will be able to access all of it. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to grab a sample prompt here just to show you all how to generate a social story, okay? I'm going to share my screen. As always, I'm going to create, and this is one of the things I always ask Ed, the ability to create a document even when a document is open. But anyways, I'm going to go back to the chat view, always create a new thread. Inside of that sample prompt guide for the social stories, there's two ways. One, you can use our social story generator. It's broken down into different forms that you have to put in. And so that's going to take a bit more time. Thank you, Megan. For now, I'll give you a sample prompt that you can use. So all you're going to do is copy that prompt, replace the brackets with your information, and hit enter, okay? And all we're telling Sophia to do is write a social story. I broke it down by grade level. I tell it some details to include, the characters and traits we want, and then the return output and narrative format. And here it is. This one, again, this one was for a 14-year-old student. Super straightforward. This is, I mean, I'm just scanning it, but this looks really, really good. You can then copy this, and let's say that for whatever reason you're not too happy with the readability level of it, run it through our readability assistant tool, which we went over last week, right? Run it through the readability tool, drop it down to whatever grade level you need to, and then use that. Here's where it gets really cool, okay? You can pull in, and I'm using Gemini, Nano Banana. This is an AI image generator. You can use some other platforms. I've used Manus, I've used Midjourney, I use Ideogram, I think it is, which is another good one. ChatGPT just released a new one. And the best one on the market that just came out Claude Design. And it's the best. I did a comparison, and ChatGPT released a new one yesterday, I think. Claude is crushing all of them. But I'm going to use Gemini here for you all. I'm simply going to say your task is to take the social story above and then generate a cover image I can share directly. You're going to click Tools, and then you're going to click Create Image. All right. They've added some other stuff here. We don't need all of that. And hit Submit. If you were to click some of those images, it will give you some different references and things, which are pretty cool. And then run it. I also have a video. I'll be doing another video showing a bit deeper how to use some of the AI generative art platforms. Here it is. All right. Collaborative, communicate, connect, working together, a social story about group projects. Stay calm, use I statements, listen first, collaboration and progress. This is actually not bad. You can see it's doing a pretty good job with the text in the back. Then let's say that you wanted to change the race or ethnicity, or if you wanted more males, if you wanted more females, whatever it is. Here's one thing to note if you're using Gemini. If you look closely, there's a little star that's down here. So I don't use Gemini that much because I just think there's some better image generators. But then I would download this, upload into Canva, and then use the magic eraser to then erase this watermark and then save it. But there you go. And then Leslie says, I use Sophia to create the social stories language, drop it in and share Google Doc or slides, share it with my OTPT, and we upload relevant pictures of the student environment classroom. They will input PCs where needed. So it's a collaborative social story process. Yep, great idea. The other really neat thing, you could then go in and say, hey, I'm a Wizards fan. The student loves, or the student is a Wizards fan. Give the student a Wizards jersey, or this student is a Simone Biles fan. Give her Team USA Gymnastics. You could really personalize it. You can say, revise this, make this social story in the form of black and white, make this in the form of Disney Pixar, make this in the form of anime, whatever the student wants. But really cool use of our platform, our social skills generator, social stories, and then being able to use another generative AI art platform. So I'll stop here. Any questions before we wrap up? And is there anyone using this already? Okay, we covered, yep, Lisa?
Hi, Byron. We had a question here from Florence. She said, can these prompts people have shared be placed in a prompt library that is accessible to all SPAI users? Will we share this after, like in the email recap?
I always say, I think Florence is asking for a specific community prompting guide, and we created one a long time ago. Leslie, I think it might be somewhere hidden in the School Psych AI Facebook group. What we can do, if someone from my team reminds me, we'll be able to pull these, and then we can start one, a huge community prompt library, which we have a prompt library, but we can do a better job of keeping it organized, and then adding that to our office hours so that everyone can access it. Internal team, y'all just got to help me with that because I'm not going to remember. All right. Then Robin says, I love using Sophia for social stories. My mind has been blown about designing them with other AI tools. I love working smarter and not harder. Yes, it's amazing. Okay. I'll hang back. I'll officially wrap this up. Thank you all so much for your time. Importantly, thank you all for the work that you all do, serving your school communities. Our team, we're committed to be here to work with you all in partnership, to help you all be more efficient at the work you all do. We're here. We'll do it again next week. Same place, same time, maybe a different face. Maybe in the future we'll have presented by Jess or something coming soon. But until next time, take care, everyone. And I'll hang back. I'll stop the recording and I'll just hang back to see if there's any other questions that might